Over the past year, many people have switched out their FrSky protocol and upgraded to these high performance, low latency links. These are an awesome option, but there is settings in Betaflight that can undo all your hard-earned money by adding latency back to the signal. So today we're going to show you what those settings are so you can get the most out of your high performance, low latency module and the best flight performance bang for your buck. So in Betaflight 4.3 under presets, we can select the category of RC link. Now, if you're using previous release candidates, you might see RC link and then you might see RC smoothing here as well. That has been combined into one, and we'll talk about those details in a second. So we just click on this RC link, and this gives us all kinds of presets here to align with our high performance, low latency link. So you can see I have a ghost module here on the back, and I have this in 500 hertz mode. So you would need to, see your user manual or whatnot for this to know which mode you can put these in. But these have, 50, 150, 500 hertz modes, 250 hertz modes, all kinds of different modes you can set for how fast the packets are being sent from this transmitter to the receiver. Those then would correspond to these settings here. So you can see we have Express LRS 250, we have Express LRS 500. So I'm going to go down to my Ghost 500 race right here and click on that. Now, when this comes up, there's two things. You can just go ahead and hit pick right here and just apply those settings. But there is some RC smoothing options here as well. And those are great, but they could undo the high performance, low latency link that you're adding. So again, there's two options. If you don't want any of the RC smoothing options, then you just wouldn't pick these at all. You would just go ahead and hit pick. Now, if you did want to try those out, then you can pick on race and then hit pick, and that would apply that. Now, obviously, whatever one you hit last, so if I come back into here and say, I don't want that, and I don't want any of these, and I just hit pick right here, then when I go down to the lower right down here and hit save and reboot, that is going to go ahead and apply those presets for me. Now, once that is applied, what did that do? So if I go into my PID tuning tab, you can see since I did not select any of those RC smoothing options, that only adjusted my feed forward settings right here to align with what it needs to be for my low latency link here. So we are all in good shape. Now, it is important to note that if you, would enable expert mode, and for example, you might be just some people like it this way. If you do not want feed forward on at all, and you set this down to 0, then these settings really just don't matter. So then that preset really doesn't matter all that much either. So these are really, again, just like in this category here, it shows these are for feed forward. And obviously, if you have feed forward set to something really low or off, then these are irrelevant. Now, when I was in this preset, if I did select some of these, so let's just go ahead and hit freestyle, since most people are freestyle flyers, and I pick that and hit pick here again, and then go down, hit save and reboot. Of course, that applied the same settings right here for the options that are setting this up. To some extent, some of those do actually tweak these a little bit. So we'll talk about that here in a second. But it also adjusted down here under the receivers tab, this RC smoothing. And with RC smoothing, the more smoothing you add here will add more delay in your inputs all the time, like end-to-end delay, constant all the time. So that is an extremely important point. When you are moving the sticks with feed forward and you use feed forward, that is for fast stick movements. So if I'm going to move the stick real fast, snap, flip, or roll, that's when feed forward kicks in. So those settings here only applies when you're doing quick stick movements. When you're moving the sticks nice and slow, feed forward really doesn't do anything. It's just following whatever your stick commands. The quad's going to follow whatever your stick commands are based on your rates. However, when it comes to RC smoothing, that is smoothing applied to your receiver signal. And when you smooth anything ever, it's just a law of smoothing that it will delay the signal, the entire signal. So even when you're not moving the stick fast, or when you are moving the sticks fast, that signal's delayed. Well, that's going to give you more of a disconnected feel. And in practicality, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have invested in this high performance, low latency link to get your end to end, gimbal to receiver latency down, but then apply a whole bunch of smoothing here. So to me, some good reasonable settings that I think you should check out, especially if you're a freestyle pilot, is to come into here and pick the freestyle one, and that will go ahead and get your feed forward set up for some reasonable stuff. So feed forward, the signal is fairly smooth based on the RC link you have here. However, then go into RC smoothing and either turn this down, like as in way down, to maybe like 25 or 10 or 5 or something pretty low, or honestly, just turn it off and you have zero delay. Even at the lowest settings, you're still going to be adding 2, 3, 4 milliseconds of delay of the entire signal. So all your inputs are delayed back again. So you went from, crossfire at 6 milliseconds end-to-end latency down to ghost to pick up, 3 or 4 milliseconds. But then when you have smoothing, now you just kind of added that back. Now you probably used smoothing before, so it was added on top of what crossfire is. So obviously it still picked it up. But another way to do it is just turn off smoothing here, and then you get the best of both worlds. So something to consider, either moving that auto smoothing down from the 120 to some value that's in your liking, or if you really want zero latency whatsoever, go ahead and just turn that off. With this approach, you're not getting crazy aggressive over here on your feed forward settings, so the feed forward is nice and smooth and things of that nature, not adding any weird jerkiness as you're moving the stick at a fairly rapid rate or anything of that nature. But again, in nice smooth moves, you're not having any constant latency there that your brain's kind of trying to mentally adjust and overcome. So hopefully you found that helpful. If you want some more information on some comparisons I did between the different settings and the amount of latency they add to all your stick inputs, check out the link to my Patreon below. This week's video is going to be deep diving on that subject, where we kind of look at some of the logging and that I did. I used my dual FC rig here and had different settings on it, and we kind of look at, again, the latency differences between the two. You'd be quite surprised at how much latency is added by the ultra cinematic preset option there. But nevertheless, that link's down below. Also, if you want more information on finding your perfect stick feel, check out this video here. I think you'll enjoy that. Thanks everybody, and I hope this helped.